So welcome everybody to JDC West 2016 tax case presentation. First off, we'd like to thank our judges. We have Kristen Haig from Potash Corp, Ashley Lund from Golden Healthcare Management, Irina Kovrankov from the University of Regina, Dave Nielsen from Collins Barrow, PQ LLP, and Jill Johnson from Chemical. Competitors will have a maximum of 20 minutes to present. Immediately following the presentation, judges will have a total of 5 minutes to ask the presenters questions. The volunteer timekeeper will show time cards at various intervals to indicate the remaining time and will stop any speaker who exceeds the maximum time limit. No questions, comments, cell phones, or picture taking will be permitted from the audience at any time. The audience will only be permitted to applaud following the question and answer period. The audience is banned from any material that bears the name or symbol of a competing university, and we ask that the audience exit the room immediately following the question and answer period. Competitors, you may begin whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, Ms. Needham. My name is Michael, to my left is Alex, and to my right is Michelle. Over the last few days, we have been going over and reviewing the financial information that you have given us about your personal and your business endeavor, and today we are here to go over our recommendations moving forward. First, we have split up our analysis and recommendation into 4 main categories. The first is going to be whether or not you should expand your current business, Can Energy. You have expressed some interest going into Vancouver and possibly exploring more of the western part of Canada, and we will be giving a recommendation whether or not to go forward with that. The next, we'll be going over the ECAN's offer of becoming director of the western part of ECAN's operations. Again, they express some high interest of you and think that you're a great candidate for this position, and we will be discussing whether or not we think it is a great opportunity for you to go forward with. Next, we will be discussing the sale of business and how to transfer your business into ECAN. There are 2 main categories we looked at, and that's going to be whether to amalgamate your business or whether to sell your business directly to ECAN. And lastly, we will be discussing your retirement options. Those will be kind of main considerations in terms of your RRSP and your investments. Today, we will be recommending that you do take the job offer. It offers ample opportunities for you and provides you with the amount of resources, like a very high amount of resources that you do not have right now with your current business. In terms of the ECAN offer, we recommend that you're going to negotiate the job offer. This is going to be considering the considerations of them taking you to Ontario and heading up the office there, and we're actually going to recommend that you stay in Alberta and that you sell your business to ECAN and stay in the office there. There you can head up their western expansion, and you won't lose any of your ties that you have right now. Then we will be discussing the sale of your business, and we are going to recommend that you actually sell your business. This is going to provide you with lots of capital right now, so you can pay off your mortgage and start saving up for retirement. Lastly, again, as I said before, we are going to recommend that you pay off your mortgage using this excess capital that you will be gaining from this, from the purchase of, or from the sale of your business rather. And we are going to recommend that you maximize your RSP contributions. As it stands today, you've been maximizing $10,000 of your RSPs, and we recommend that you go forward and maximize the amount, carrying back a few years and going forward. I will now let Alex start the analysis.
Okay, thanks, Michael. So I'm here to take you guys today through your expansion west for Can Energy. You've talked about moving into Edmonton and as well as moving into Vancouver. So we looked at some of the advantages and disadvantages of making this movement here. Some of the advantages of this is that you can grow your business. You can actually start expanding and growing your brand name and really putting a name out there for yourself as a great energy consulting business. Another big advantage is the freedom of your projects. If you go to work for ECAN, you will be actually an employee, so you will not be able to pursue your own projects and your own clients at your own will. Another big advantage of expanding Can Energy is the possibility for your return. Your profit loss return rate could be a lot higher or lower depending on whether you own the business or whether you're an employee. This provides for a lot more growth in your profit if you do decide to expand and you do actually achieve that expansion successfully. Some of the big disadvantages that come with expanding Can Energy to the west are the insufficient funds. Currently, it says that you need $250,000 to fund this expansion out west. A big problem with this is that your business is only netting $5,000 per year after taxes and after you've paid all of your salaries and all of your bills after that, which is not enough to expand westward. Another big disadvantage is the maximum capacity reached. You have told us, Mrs. Needham, that you work around 70 hours per week right now, currently, just to keep your business at where it is. For you to work more hours per week trying to fund an expansion out into the west would be very hard on yourself for your personal life there. Another big disadvantage would be the probability of winning new contracts. You currently have the probability of 50% of winning that big new contract that you really think you have a good shot at winning, but there's still that uncertainty of that 50% probability, and if you did happen to not get those two contracts, it could be very detrimental to your expansion out west. Another big disadvantage of the expansion out west is the competitive expansion. ECAN has already expressed interest in moving out west, whether you join them or not, so we think that with the lack of resources that you are currently facing within your company and the bigger company that ECAN has right now, they have a lot quicker advancement into the west. So that expansion could, if you don't manage to expand quickly and take over the west, ECAN could move in there and really take away potential clients from you moving forward. So next we looked at the ECAN job offer. So we took the tax implications and the after-tax net cash flow of your old job and your new proposed salary with the $280,000 and then the associated benefits with it. And your after-tax cash flow actually increases by almost $150,000 after you take the new job from ECAN. This is great because it allows you to make maximum contributions to your RRSP, as well as actually spend some money, keep some more money for yourself and for your retirement later. We also did an expected benefit of the salary over 20 years, assuming a 5% rate, of how much in today's dollars the benefit would be of all of the cash inflows and outflows of your salary and your expenses over the next 20 years. And we found that the NPV of your old salary right now, including all your expenses, is only $103,000, where the NPV of the new salary is over $2.3 million, which is a huge increase right there. Another big thing again about taking the ECAN job offer is the retirement uncertainty. When you increase your salary by $160,000 a year, you're going to be able to retire a lot more comfortably than you were just living off the $120,000 that you're taking now. So again, our recommendation is for you to take this ECAN job offer. One thing we do want you to do though is to negotiate the ECAN job offer. ECAN seems to be very interested in your skill set, and they really want to acquire you as an employee of their business, because they really want you to help with that Western expansion. And because you're already in that Western market, you already have that knowledge and that expertise and the ties out there to really help with that expansion. So what we want you to do is actually sell your business to ECAN. It's a lot easier than having to wind up your business, and you can maintain, you can keep the personal ties there. So we think you should offer your business to ECAN for $900,000. Although right now the value of your business is not as high as it could be, and the contract potential that you have there with those two big contracts that you believe could bring your business value up to $900,000, we think that with that possibility of those contracts and with the resources that ECAN has to offer, there's a lot higher of a possibility of you actually receiving those contracts if ECAN does acquire you. So we want you to offer your business to ECAN for $900,000. ECAN is looking to expand out west, and you are already set up in the west. You're already established as a business and a consulting service that's very well known in the west. And we think that for them to try and expand without any sort of previous foothold in the west is a lot more difficult to do. So they'd be a lot more willing to look at this consideration fee there. Another big thing that we want you to offer in this, to talk to ECAN about, is to stay in Calgary for your business there. Moving to Toronto would put you a lot closer to their offices and a lot closer to the big bosses that you could then work with. But keeping you in Calgary, again, keeps your personal ties and also keeps those business ties that you have in the West that allowed you to actually expand farther into the West if you wanted to. Another thing that we wanted you to talk to ECAN about was possibly becoming a shareholder in reduced time. ECAN right now is just an Eastern company, but if they expand into the Western area, it almost doubles their potential revenue streams. So for you to be able to expand into the West with them and really facilitate that expansion, it really shows that you could bring a lot of value to this company. So we think that you could, in fact, negotiate to become a shareholder in reduced time instead of that 7-year period where they usually have you wait for. Oh. Excuse me. I'll now let Michael take you through the transfer of CAN Energy.
So when looking at the transfer of CAN Energy, we look at two possible ways of going forward with you. One being an amalgamation using a Section 87 election for your business and amalgamating with with ECAN and looking at the direct sale of your business. So a main advantage of an amalgamation is that you become an immediate shareholder. Right now, your company, if they were to transfer it at the value we expected, $900,000, you become an immediate shareholder of their business and have immediate control and immediate say. Another main advantage is that the assets, when you're amalgamating, are transferred over at tax value, and therefore you don't trigger any taxable capital gains for you. There are a few major cons with this going forward though, and a lot of them is that you gain no immediate capital. Right now you have about $400,000 in your mortgage, and it's going over 20 years. So looking forward into your retirement, we want you to minimize your payments for your mortgage as soon as possible to keep those interest payments down. Next is that you actually lose control of your business, you give it up, and the main thing with this company, they gave you a job offer of 7 years into the future. So we don't expect them to give you control right away as you amalgamate. So we figured that this is a major con for this, because we do not expect them to just openly give you a share into their company right away as a new employee. Next is that the acceptance from ECAN. That kind of ties back to my last point of the disadvantage of ECAN not wanting to lose control of your business. And lastly is the lengthy recapital structure. So as the shares in your business get amalgamated with the ECAN business, all the current shareholders of that business are going to have to get restructured. All the percentages are going to have to change. The value of the company has to be reevaluated, and this is going to be a lengthy procedure and lots of papers in order to actually restructure this business. And on the opposite hand, we looked at a direct sale. This will be transferring over the business in terms of the shares, and a huge advantage is immediate capital. If by chance, or if this company accepts the offer of $900,000, you will be able to make or potentially renegotiate an offer with your mortgage, or double down your payments and potentially pay your mortgage now instead of having to pay interest into the future. And the next major point is that you reduce liability. As you transfer your business, you're not going to be an owner anymore. As you sell your business, you will not be an owner, so you will not take on any of the liabilities of the business. You will not be held accountable for a lot of the business operations. And another main pro of direct selling your business is that you're going to gain a lot more personal time. So right now, you're currently upwards of 70 hours of work, including management time and talking with clients, working that ways, and we want you to really reduce down that time for you to spend more time with yourself. And so this is going to really make sure that you can focus hard on your work and reduce that amount of workload on you. And that's going to be a major advantage of this. And lastly, I've kind of talked on this a few times, but the main advantage is the ability to pay off your mortgage. We would like you to start looking for retirement options now, and this is a major advantage of this. And a few cons is that you have developed this business, you have a strong entrepreneurial spirit, and you have basically grown this business from the ground up. And essentially, direct selling your business can be seen as you're almost losing your hard work. This is a major disadvantage because it is almost considered your baby. You have made it very successful and created lots of employees and employment opportunities for these people, and selling your business, it can be seen as losing that part of your life. Another main con is that you actually will trigger some capital gains with the sale of your business. However, we are going to mitigate that in the future by looking at the lifetime capital gains exemption. And lastly, that you're going to lose your brand name. It kind of ties back to my first point of losing your hard work, but your brand name of CAN Energy will unfortunately be gone, and you will be taking on position as director in the ECAN Department of Western Canada. And lastly, in our analysis, we're going to look at your retirement plan. So right now you have unused room for this year and last year, and that together is going to include up to about $35,600. So once you accept this new offer from ECAN, you will be able to free up capital, and you will be able to use the capital gain from selling the business to then contribute to your RSPs and lower your net income, and then therefore reduce your taxes going forward. Next, we are going to recommend that you continue to contribute to your maximum RSP contribution. This is up to $26,000 each year, and because you have $280,000 new income, potentially up to $356,000, we believe that you're going to be very easily able to maximize your contribution every year. Next, as the job offer was about 5% pension plan contributions, we recommend that you stay with this contribution, and as a part of it, there's a potential to negotiate a little more. You are clearly a very important employee to this program and to expanding out west. You have the knowledge, you have a client base. We think that you can also negotiate potentially up to 5 to 7% in your pension plan contribution. And lastly, because you are going to have a lot of extra capital space, we recommend that you assess future investments. Right now you haven't contributed to your tax-free savings account, so we recommend that you look into contributing to that and investing through that vehicle. It provides an amazing way to invest without having to pay taxes on the income you receive, and because you haven't paid it back in the future, you have a very large space in that account for you to utilize, and that will acclimate over time for you to then retire comfortably. So today, I would just like to summarize all the recommendations we've made today. First, we would like to recommend that you do not expand CAN Energy. We do not think that this is a viable opportunity for your business, as there's a lot of risk and unfortunately not enough capital in your business right now. Next, we recommend that you negotiate the ECAN job. We think that you have a lot of bargaining tools here, and we think that you are very important to this business and that you have a lot of potential for this business and that you have a lot of leverage in order to negotiate this contract. Next, we recommend that you sell your business directly to ECAN. This is going to be selling shares instead of assets. Lastly, we recommend that in terms of your retirement, you maximize your RRSP contributions and that you look for further investments. I will now let Michelle take you through our timeline and risks.
Thanks, Michael. So as Alex and Michael discussed our recommendation, I now want to let you know what you're going to do when you leave the room today. So for a short-term implementation, which runs from January 2nd to about 3 months from now to the end of March, this is when we want you to start opening the negotiations with ECAN. Our negotiations that we discussed, including the staying in the Western Canada as opposed to moving, and as an addition to those other negotiations. It's important that we start to get that open communication started early. In addition, during this time, although you will be negotiating your work with ECAN, we need to make sure that you don't put your CAN Energy business on hold. We want you to continue your work with them, as it is still a source of income and something that should have your attention. For our medium-term implementation, which runs April 1st to the end of the year-end, January 31st, this is when we want to have the final offer of sale and the job offer signed. Now, the offer of sale is both for CAN Energy as well as the job offer for the new position. After the sale will also come the time to collect the money from the sale. It's at this time that we recommend you begin paying off your mortgage, getting these liabilities down and reducing some of the risks you currently have. And a very important part of this step is becoming acclimatized to this new business. We did take an assumption here that you would start your job within this time, and we find it very important that you begin to learn ECAN's business. This also transfers into our long-term implementation, which goes from the start of 2017 onward. Now, it's here that we recommend you continue maximizing your RRSP contributions. As we touched on, by doing so, this will decrease your taxes in the current year and will allow you to put them off until your retirement when you're in a lower income bracket or lower tax bracket. In addition, we also recommend you dive heavily into business acumen. You've told us that you're on the partner track for this company, and as a partner, we know it is imperative that you know all parts of the business. Although you already have a good understanding of Western Canada, this is the time to go into to really learn about Eastern Canada and some of the negotiations that go on there. They have different energy needs and will have different contracts, different rules, different situations that you'll be thrown into. So we really want you to work on getting to know this business that you're entering, that you want to become an equity partner for, and that you want to play a big role. Moving on to our risk mitigation, we have identified a few risks for you today. One of the huge ones is that if ECAN does not wish to purchase your business, whether it's as we mentioned, we did evaluate your business at $900,000. Now, there is wiggle room here if you do not get the contracts. However, if ECAN does not wish to purchase your business, we suggest that you wind up your CAN Energy. What this will mean is you will effectively close your business and it'll allow you to then take the job with ECAN. Another major risk of our recommendation is that ECAN needs you in Toronto. Although we would ideally have you stay in stay in Western Canada for lower provincial tax. If ECAN needs you in Toronto, this is the time that we will suggest you ask for a company loan to move. This will help you face the very higher home prices in Western Canada, or Eastern Canada, as well as as well as pay for your expenses in the move. And finally, we would also recommend you confirm your use for a vehicle. This would mean that your boss at the new company would need to sign a form. This is a legal document that allows you to use your personal vehicle for work expenses. This will then allow you to minimize your taxes when it comes to the personal vehicle. For a final summary of our recommendations, we recommend you do take the job offer. We recommend you, along with taking it, we recommend you do a few negotiations. Staying in Western Canada, selling the business along with it. With the sale of the business, we recommend you sell it directly to them as opposed to an amalgamation. And finally, we've outlined some retirement plans, including maximizing your RRSP contributions. We would now like to open up the floor for questions.
All right, judges?
Why would it be one of the suggestions to wind up my company if it's potentially worth $900,000?
Excuse me, sorry. Our $900,000 evaluation was specifically for ECAN. As ECAN looks to expand out west, having a foothold that's already established in the west is a big benefit to them, as well as having an employee that's very knowledgeable about the western area and already has the client base out there as well is very knowledgeable to them. Winding up the business for the $900,000 is also very dependent on that 50% probability that you get those 2 new contracts with the government. The $900,000 is also dependent on whether ECAN can provide you with the resources to actually get that project. If ECAN decides to buy your business, they do have a lot more resources that could be used to actually gain that contract and bring the price back up to that $900,000 there.
If I could add on to that, there's also a 2-year limitation in that if you do go with ECAN, you need to, they won't allow you to have ties to this business. It creates a controversy or I'm lost for words here, but it does create an issue that you'll be torn between opposing situations.
I guess my concern is the same thing. Like, I think I talked to this owner, Posner, and when he offered me, he knows I own Can Energy. He didn't make any comment, and I think it's great. I should go back to him and ask, but the likelihood, it just doesn't seem like it's there if it wasn't even an offer then. And if I really think it's worth something, to just say ECAN or nothing, it just feels like I just lost my whole company. I didn't even, one of my objectives is to make sure that my staff is okay, and now it's just kind of like laying everybody off.
So a major kind of mitigation that we should have outlined in our presentation is that when you sell the business, we also are going to recommend that you discuss transferring the employees over, because this country ECAN expressed offers in expanding out west. This provides, like, your company right now as it stands provides a major vehicle for them to get into the market out west now. They don't have to worry about finding a new office. You're an established consultant agency, and you are able to expand, or they will be able to expand fast. And because they're going to make you a position of being a director, you will also be able to control your operations and potentially use those employees at your office now. So heading up the office, you can almost take control of your employees and deal with them that way. ECAN's is a big company, and this could potentially mean increased salaries for your employees too.
Should I ask ECAN to pay all my moving expenses if I do move to Toronto?
You don't have to ask them to actually pay for many of your moving expenses. Many of the moving expenses from your move will actually be deductible against your net employment income. such as the time it takes to actually find new residents in the new city, some of the moving expenses for moving all of your furniture, and all the expenses for any other things.
So if I deduct on that, that still costs me 52 cents on the dollar. Am I not better off just getting made whole and not having to worry about the expenses?
Yes, so if you're, you can ask your new employer to pay for some moving expenses and travel expenses. However, with some of these expenses does come a taxable benefit. So by this, what we mean is by your employer providing you with, whether it is a cash installment or a reimbursement, the government of Canada recognizes that as a source of income or as an alternative to salary. So by that, you create a taxable income, which will then be added onto your taxes, and you will end up paying on there.
Do you think it's feasible to expect that, like one of the pros listed was more personal time or having that better work-life balance with the direct sale? Is it really feasible given that I want to be on the partner track at the new company and I have to, not only do that, but acclimatize myself to their operations? Is it really feasible to expect that that's a reasonable expectation as part of my move to the new company versus staying with my existing company?
I think a major benefit of this is that you're going to have reduced amount of management hours, because right now you're the sole manager, so you have to deal with a lot of the management opportunity, or a lot of the management daily. So I'm at my loss for words too. But now you, but then now you'll be taking on a reduced amount of this. So this could mean a lot of loss of hours for you personally.
And that's all the time we have for questions. So thank you.
Thank you.